Hello everyone and welcome to my next sketchbook tour. This little A6 sketchbook has gone with me on a lot of adventures. So in this little flip through, I will show you some behind the scenes footage and talk about some of the materials. Let's get started. Hello everyone, let's dive right into this little sketchbook. This is the Hahnemuhle Watercolor Travel Sketchbook in gray. So it's one of their toned sketchbooks, but you'll see it's a very light gray. It almost looks like white in a lot of situations, but you can see that the white pens do show up on that paper. The first page I typically just use for testing out different pens and different materials. And I think that I actually started this sketchbook in a YouTube video. I made a little video, like a chatty sketch session, and it was March 25th, 2021, about 8 months ago. And I think this was also part of the video. So the first page, this was an ink pen, and the second page, this was gouache. This right sketch was the result of, I took Ian Fanelli's etcher workshop, so it was like a little Zoom class thing. It was really fun, lots of artists there. And this was watercolor with a little ink. And then we have a couple inks over here. This is watercolor and ink and just ink with Posca pen. And this is quite a lot of mixed media, some watercolor and ink in the background here, maybe a little gouache even, like diluted gouache, and then just pencil on the left. A lot of these I just do in my garden or on the couch even when I'm hanging out watching TV with Wolfie, or just whatever, in the car. Pencil on the left and gouache and ink on the right. Sometimes I take it with me outside and just sketch whatever I can see. This was pencil and gouache, different things I found outside. And then a little watercolor mountain there on the right. These are pencil sketches, just working on like a value study, and then just a random sketch of trees, because I love drawing rocks and trees. We have some watercolor, little gouache, little ink, quite mixed, just drawing on the coast. Ink tree, and then watercolor and ink on the right. This paper is decent for watercolor. It's not great because I prefer 100% cotton cold press paper, but this is quite smooth, and I don't think it's 100% cotton. I'm not sure, but it doesn't feel like it when you paint with it. But it's one of the better ones that I've tried that are this size and this price, so it's fun, and I like doing it with like a wet wash of watercolor and then ink on top. Some more ink drawings, a little forest. I love drawing twisted roots. More ink and a little Posca pen in the sky. Just a random location that I thought of. Nothing that I've seen. And then some more trees. So these are ink and watercolor, and this is just watercolor without adding the ink. So you can kind of see that drastic change. So I'll do a little light pencil drawing and then drop some watercolor in and then do the final ink. Without it, you can see how undefined it is. This was obviously a Hobbit home sketch, a little watercolor and ink, and probably was about an hour and a half, so much more time and detail went into this page because I love Hobbit homes. So I think I was just drawing what I want to have someday. Sitting around the garden, sketching plants. This was marker and ink, and this was watercolor and ink. Little pencil sketch and some watercolor and ink on the right. Some more watercolor, a little bit of ink in there. This is just pencil. Some ink drawings and a little watercolor. A lot of this is just random stuff I think of. I think that one was from life, although it's a terrible sketch. Good to sit in nature and sketch for a while and take your mind off things. And that's watercolor and ink. This is watercolor and ink. Ink, wash, sketch, watercolor and ink, marker, and then just ink, pen. A lot of variety on this spread. Just ink. Some ink value studies and a pen drawing. Brush pen is a lot of fun on this paper because the paper is very smooth. It does have a little bit of texture, but with a brush pen, like one of those brush tip pens, you can get a lot of texture. This was gouache. Painted this at Lossiemouth Beach. Little sketch with some ink. I think I did this on the couch when I was watching a movie. Kind of like a fantasy witch's hut or something, I don't know. And a little old castle ruins kind of thing. And then on the right I painted, well, it's very like loose pencil and ink wash. These I did, this is pencil and this is ink with highlighter, and that was just at the park down the street. This on the right is Gordon Castle Gardens, which I visit quite a lot. I get so inspired when I'm there and just had to do a little watercolor sketch. This was Gouache, and it was on our little trip we took to the Cairngorms this spring. And it was one of the only things I sketched. I think I only did one or two because at that time my wrist was in a lot of pain and I was supposed to be resting it. So I did half of this with my left hand, which was very frustrating. Fast forward a little bit. I think this was only a couple weeks ago, and I was doing color notes at the beach, which I ended up recording. I did a couple like landscape paintings while I was there, and the footage didn't come out. So this one and this one I had recorded, but the camera wasn't like quite on focus, wasn't on the page, so it was useless video. And the only thing I had that was usable was this page with color notes. So I ended up explaining my process for taking color notes. These are my sandy tones. Maybe a bit of white. Just desaturate it. Give this like a highlight version. And then another little plein air sketch. This is Gouache at a place called Cullen Beach. It's another location I visit quite a lot. And I get so inspired by the water washing up on the sand and creating all these beautiful reflections and patterns. It's like one of my favorite things to paint. And then a final little watercolor sketch. And this is what it looks like when I use a water brush instead of a real watercolor brush. I really don't like them, but they are quite useful. And I always have one in my bag in case I forget something, in case I forget a brush. And that's it. A little sketchbook. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you again soon. Take care.